Everyone is well aware the city and our community is entering a very serious budget season. To meet the challenges that face us, we will need participation and sacrifices from every part of our city community.
There are a lot of things that no one entity and no one subject matter expert has control over. I won't go into too many details, but one of the big ones right now that's in the news cycle is the question of testing, in particular antibody testing. And I'll save you some reading. Right now, nobody knows if the presence of antibodies means that you're conferred with any real immunity. That doesn't mean that we're anywhere close to out of the woods or that we have necessarily flattened the curve. And that means that we must continue to shelter in place. Hospitals are still bracing for what could be a so-called surge. The models, again, are ambiguous and subject to, frankly, a lot of speculation.
A quick update on a couple of dimensions of the business support work that the council referred to staff a few weeks ago. Just a reminder, this is a slide that we used previously. There are two concurrent efforts that we have underway. One is, again, referrals from council, direct financial support options, and the other is building a recovery strategy related.
I think the other nuance is that we have a very large and as yet not maxed out test site right adjacent to us on Stanford campus. So the county public health plan would be first to direct more potential testees to that site before asking us to set up a geographically co-located site here.
So I want to thank staff for moving forward on business assistance. I think it's really important. I continue to hear from businesses almost daily on the edge of going under. So I think it's really important to move forward on this quickly. So I think there's a lot of people really hurting and they need help. And sooner we act, I think the best. From the city manager's point of view, I know that there's encouragement of it, right? But I know some cities actually have mandated this, and I was wondering from your perspective, why not? Why don't we do that as well? Because it seems like the right thing to do. It seems like we protect people. We have a lot of elderly people in our community. It seems like we protect them as well. A lot of the front end workers aren't paid a whole lot, and they're essentially essential workers at this point. So why not try to give more protection to the people that serve the community here?
Perhaps just check the assumption, and I'll ask Ken to weigh in on this as well, that the face coverings are really intended to protect others, so not necessarily, really not the wearer.
So I've gotten so much feedback on this, and this one truly, like, I realize it's county level, but it's truly bizarre from my point of view, because the gardener is out there by himself, raking up the leaves, taking care of stuff, not necessarily interacting with the homeowner.
Just a couple of points on that. First, safety issues and health issues are exempt, and so if there is any gardening or landscape work necessary in order to address those, then that's specifically called out. I think that the fundamental premise that we've heard repeatedly from County Public Health is this is all about reducing contact.
This afternoon, since shelter-in-place restrictions have been put on place, we have not had any complaints regarding RV dwellers that we've had to respond to, and we've been doing a count, especially of the RVs on El Camino Avenue. And again, as I reported, as of this weekend, we had 27 RVs along El Camino, and that is down dramatically.
So this is first, the overall sources of expenses relate to salaries and benefits. I'll be bringing back to the council for consideration of options. Months in May and June, with the Finance Committee looking specifically at utility rates, and the council in prior action directing that the budget as a whole will be coming back to the council. We've got some dates on here that are described.
For the past, I think 3+ weeks, I've been hearing the estimate that for this fiscal year, for basically Q4, that the city is projected to have between $15 to $20 million shortfall.
It's really a macro estimate based on initial sense of what was happening. Certainly we've seen the hotel tax and sales tax evaporate.
Can we trim some at the top, right, so that we don't have to cut as much services for the people in their city, and go a little bit lighter on the management side? So that's the other aspect I had, other thought I had. So rather than just a broad-based thing, look at the top management structure, look at individual departments or individual services to figure out which ones you really need to cut versus just a broad-based cut, because that doesn't seem like a really good idea. And then the last thing, and you didn't really talk about it, but so I assume this is not the plan, but there wasn't necessarily talk about like massive tax increases or fees to bridge a gap. And so I just want to say I support the idea of not doing that, because I know so many people in our community are hurting. A lot of our residents are, a lot of our businesses are, and they're barely making it. So I think we don't want to add to the problem. Sure. So I think 5 is actually a critical service. So I actually do support it because I think it's actually really important. But my big issue with it is it's a very big contract. It's $5.6 million.